The evolution of the Roman soldier, from phalanx to empire. Welcome to our journey through the evolution of the Roman soldier, a story that spans over 1,000 years of military innovation and conquest. From the humble beginnings of citizen militias to the disciplined legions of the Roman Empire, join us as we uncover the transformations that shaped one of history's most formidable fighting forces. Our story begins in the legendary days of Rome's founding, where citizen soldiers armed with little more than spears and shields defended their fledgling city-state. Inspired by Greek tactics, they fought in tight phalanx formations, relying on unity and discipline. But as Rome expanded its borders, so too did its military capabilities. The Manipular Legion emerged, a flexible fighting force organized into smaller units known as maniples. Armed with the deadly pilum and gladius, they conquered enemies with swift and decisive tactics. Then came the Marian reforms, a turning point that transformed Rome's citizen militia into a professional army. Led by the legendary Gaius Marius, soldiers were recruited from all walks of life and equipped by the state. This standardized the legions, making them a formidable force on the battlefield. Under the early emperors, the Roman legions reached their zenith. With disciplined training and superior equipment like the Lorica Segmentata, they expanded the empire to its greatest extent. But challenges loomed on the horizon. The late Roman army faced threats from all sides, as barbarian tribes and internal strife weakened the empire. To adapt, the army underwent reforms, integrating more cavalry and auxiliary units into its ranks. Even after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the Byzantine army carried on the legacy of Rome. With innovations in cavalry tactics and siege warfare, they defended the Eastern Empire for centuries. And so concludes our journey through the evolution of the Roman soldier. From humble beginnings to glorious triumphs, their legacy lives on as a testament to the power of discipline, innovation, and adaptability. Subscribe for more history content. The Afghan invasion of 2001, also known as Operation Enduring Freedom, Afghanistan, represents a pivotal moment in modern history, reshaping global geopolitics and triggering one of the longest wars in modern times. This conflict, stemming from the aftermath of the September 11th attacks, not only transformed Afghanistan, but also had far-reaching implications for the United States, its allies, and the wider international community. In this extensive essay, I will delve into the background, motivations, conduct, consequences, and ongoing legacy of the Afghan invasion of 2001, exploring its multifaceted dimensions and analyzing its significance from various perspectives. Introduction. The events of September 11, 2001, marked a watershed moment in world history, forever altering the course of international relations and ushering in an era of heightened global security concerns. The coordinated terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon near Washington, D.C., perpetrated by the extremist group Al-Qaeda, shocked the world and prompted an immediate and forceful response from the United States. Background: rise of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. To understand the context of the Afghan invasion of 2001, it is essential to examine the rise of the Taliban in Afghanistan and the emergence of Al-Qaeda as a transnational terrorist organization. Immediate aftermath of September 11. In the immediate aftermath of the September 11th attacks, the United States, under the leadership of President George W. Bush, faced immense pressure to respond decisively and prevent future terrorist threats. The identification of Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, as the mastermind behind the attacks, and the Taliban regime's refusal to hand him over to U.S. authorities, presented a direct challenge to American national security interests. Justifications for military intervention. The decision to launch a military intervention in Afghanistan was grounded in a combination of strategic, political, and humanitarian considerations. From a strategic standpoint, the United States sought to dismantle al-Qaeda's infrastructure in Afghanistan, disrupt its ability to plan and execute terrorist attacks, and deny it a safe haven from which to operate. Operation Enduring Freedom. Afghanistan. Operation Enduring Freedom. Afghanistan, the military campaign launched by the United States and its allies in response to the September 11th attacks, encompassed a range of military operations, including airstrikes, special operations missions, and ground offensives. Role of international partners. The Afghan invasion of 2001 was not conducted by the United States alone, but involved a coalition of international partners, including NATO, member states, and non-NATO allies. The collective efforts of these countries underscored the global significance of the mission and the shared commitment to combating terrorism and promoting stability in Afghanistan. In addition to military challenges and complexities, the post-invasion phase of the conflict in Afghanistan involved efforts to rebuild the country's political institutions, establish security and governance structures, and promote socio-economic development. However, these nation-building endeavors were beset by numerous challenges and complexities, including ethnic and sectarian tensions, corruption, and the resilience of insurgent groups. Evolution of the insurgency. Despite initial successes in ousting the Taliban regime and disrupting al-Qaeda's operations, the conflict in Afghanistan evolved into a protracted insurgency, with the Taliban regrouping and launching a sustained campaign against the U.S.-backed government and international forces. The insurgency capitalized on grievances and vulnerabilities within Afghan society, exploiting local dynamics and tribal affiliations to garner support and sustain its resistance. Regional dynamics and geopolitical implications. The Afghan invasion of 2001 had profound regional and geopolitical implications, influencing the strategic calculations of neighboring countries and major powers alike. Afghanistan's strategic location, situated at the crossroads of Central Asia, South Asia, and the Middle East, rendered it a focal point for competing interests and regional rivalries. Humanitarian impact and civilian casualties. The prolonged conflict in Afghanistan exacted a heavy toll on the civilian population, resulting in widespread displacement, loss of life, and humanitarian suffering. Civilian casualties, inflicted by both insurgent attacks and military operations, underscored the human cost of war and raised ethical questions about the conduct of counterinsurgency campaigns and the protection of non-combatants. Legacy and lessons learned. As the Afghan invasion of 2001 draws to a close, its legacy continues to reverberate, shaping debates over foreign policy, military strategy, and the limits of interventionism. The war's outcome has prompted soul-searching and reflection within the United States and its allies, prompting a reassessment of the efficacy of military force in addressing complex political and security challenges. Conclusion. The Afghan invasion of 2001 stands as a defining chapter in modern history, encapsulating the complexities and contradictions of contemporary warfare and statecraft. From its inception in the wake of the September 11th attacks to its denouement 2 decades later, the conflict in Afghanistan has left an indelible mark on the world stage, shaping the trajectory of nations and peoples far beyond its borders. As we reflect on the lessons learned from this protracted and costly conflict, we are reminded of the imperative to pursue diplomacy, dialogue, and cooperation in resolving conflicts and advancing the cause of peace and security in an increasingly interconnected world.